This is the irrigation holding pond for the irrigation water before it goes down to the sprinkler. It has about, I'd say 12 hours of supply if the water from Platte Valley Irrigation Company wasn't available before the sprinkler would have to be shut off. This is a little what we call a sediment pond. All the sand and dirt that comes with the irrigation water gets put in here so it doesn't go into the big ponds. The little pond is easier to clean out, maybe once every 3 years or so. This property is on the corner of Weld County Road 43 and Weld County Road 44 on the northeast side.
Fertilizing potatoes is important, and you need to understand that because it's a below ground crop, it's going to need a fertilizer that's lower in nitrogen. Nitrogen is what promotes leaves, top growth. So if you have too much nitrogen in your fertilizer or in your soil, what's going to happen is you're going to have beautiful, green, lush-looking tops and no potatoes. So what you want to use is a fertilizer that's going to be something like a 5-10-10 or an 8-16-16. I also like to mix in a product that's called Sulpamag, which is sulfur, potassium, and magnesium. Find it at any garden center. And what I do is mix about a 50-50 blend of my fertilizer and my Sulpamag and shake it up in the bag really well. And once my potatoes are in, I just take a couple handfuls and just do kind of a band dressing right over the top like that. And follow your directions on your bag. You don't want to over-fertilize. It's better to under-fertilize twice than to over-fertilize once. You don't want to burn your roots. So that will give me a good general application. I take my handheld cultivator, lightly scratch it into the soil. So when I water it, those particles break down and they actually become part of the soil and start feeding your potatoes. Get the roots going and you watch them come up. About 4 weeks after that, you give them another dose of fertilizer and just watch those things grow. You're going to be so happy.
I'm at a small farm, and this year the farmer is growing potatoes. Last year he grew corn, this year potatoes, next year corn. Why the switching? Well, every vegetable will take certain nutrients and minerals from the soil. If you grow the same vegetable year after year, you're depleting the soil of those minerals and nutrients, and the balance to keep the soil healthy is disrupted. What happens then? You get insects and fungicides into the soil, which affects the vegetables. What does the farmer have to do? The farmer has to spray pesticides. That's why I'm a big fan of organic farming. You don't have to spray the pesticides, and the farmers are rotating the crops, which allows the soil to remain healthy.
Hi, I'm Stan DeFreitas, Mr. Green Thumb. We're at Willow Tree Nursery in St. Petersburg, Florida. Pest in the garden. Some of the pests, well, they're going to be major if they eat up half your yard and garden, especially in vegetable gardens. You know, you love your tomatoes, and so do the hornworms. There are a lot of pests out there that can really chew up a garden. Some of the beetles, we're not talking about John Paul Ringo and the boys, not those beetles. There's beetles that will eat up your yard and garden. Now, a little pump sprayer is probably worth having, even if you have a small garden area. I use some of this triple neem oil, which works well as a fungicide and an insecticide. Also, I've used Sevin for years. Now, Sevin kind of kicks you out of the organic gardening club, but it covers a multitude of pests, and it's labeled for most of your vegetables. You do have to wait about 1 day to 5 days from the time you use Sevin and the time that you can harvest. Neem oil, often you can harvest the same day. So find out if it's organic or inorganic. Is it a true chemical? How many days to the time that you spray to the time that you can harvest? You are going to have to battle some of the beasties, and being prepared early helps take out some of the guesswork.
Tomato plants all broke apart individually, ready to plant. Here we are planting our tomato plants. As you can see, we wrapped the stem in a little bit of newspaper to keep the cutworms from trying to eat our tomato plant off, and we dug a hole just a little bit deeper than the peat pot to allow us to bury the plant up with the stem just a little bit to give it a little extra support, and then you firm the soil lightly around it, and there you have your tomato plant.